Oh my God.
There's beautiful dimples. Oh.
This guy in there just asked me if he could buy my hat, and I said I just got it today. And he said, how much was it? I go, it was only $15. He goes, I'll give you 50. Then I went over and he gave me 60.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. They put the hat on, a couple more talk things.
Oh my God. Really?
Then his friend was like, can I get the $60 back and get your hat back? Because he doesn't really want your hat. And I said, sure.
Of course not. Yeah.
For the first time in 3 years, the J Street Italian Fest in downtown Schenectady has started up again. Due to the pandemic, they have not been able to have it for the past 3 years.
What are your thoughts and comments about the J Street Italian Festival?
It's a wonderful event every year. We come down every year to see friends and family and have a good time.
And isn't it nice that after 3 years it's finally back again?
Nice, yes, very nice. Beautiful.
Yep.
Life's getting back to normal again.
I wish it could be every week.
Absolutely thankful.
It wouldn't be so special, though.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
As you can see, there were a lot of people there, a lot of vendors. There was everything from pasta, rice balls, to lemon ice. There was pasta fazool. I'm sure there were steak sandwiches and sausage, probably Parmesan dishes of all kinds. Cornell's restaurant participated, along with Parecca's. Italian food is healthy, especially if it's unprocessed, and many of these restaurants that contributed get their recipes from their home country. There were dogs that were enjoying the festivities and the people around, and I'm sure they could smell the food in the air. Again, the street was filled with people. They looked so happy to be out. It was extra crowded after not being a thing for 3 years. Famous local people like Joe Sinatra were there. Joe Sinatra's a good friend of mine. He always refers to me as Alan Funt, because I'm always documenting things, always filming things, although Alan Funt was more like a TV show. Now, here on the other end of the street was a favored section of mine where the Sawmill Tavern is, with all the friendly biker people. I've been here a few times, not a lot, but a few times. My filmmaking partner and I recently did a movie shoot here called, it was for the movie Homer Alone, which is coming out soon.
Across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart. It's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, well, at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the ones who died and gave their right to me, and when you stand up, and you get no still today. There ain't no doubt I love you so. I bless the USA.
He supposedly said that about the CIA after the Bay of Pigs. He felt like he had been severely wronged by America's intelligence agency, and he ended up looking like an idiot, and he wanted the CIA to go away. Okay? Now, that's one part of it. There's another part of it as we walk through American history. The Mafia was obviously very, very powerful back in the day. Much more powerful than now. I know We like to geek out and talk about mob stories at secret gambling parlors, and I know they still exist, and unions and running drugs and things like that. But I think people really do underestimate how incredibly powerful they were. They had their fingers in everything back in the day. Just everything. It was this huge secret organization. And they could provide you things. Jack Kennedy. Kennedy Sr., JFK's father. He was not only notoriously wired in with the government, remember he was FDR's ambassador at one point in time, he was also crooked as the day is long. During Prohibition, JFK's father actually ran illegal booze, aided in the running of illegal booze into the United States of America. This is not internet conspiracy theories.
The Miscellaneous Museum in Schenectady, New York, off of Veeder Ave. There are structure-type exhibits, artsy things in the front yard. Next door to an old apartment building with a parking garage. A set of steps leading to the backyard, which brings us out to Veeder Ave. There is a sunken garden with a park-like atmosphere. It's got benches, and there is some graffiti on the walls, unfortunately. Now, if we pan to the right, we see a small frog pond. It's extremely green. That's a lot of algae. But here lies a locomotive exhibit. This particular locomotive was built in 1954. Here is a description of the number of cylinders and horsepower that this locomotive had, and it was number 229. But the only thing disturbing about this beautiful small park was that over by one of these benches here, somebody has left a big gob of gross-looking papers, I don't know, half-eaten things, and I didn't think to go through it to see if there was a name in there somewhere, but I didn't want to touch it because I don't like touching other people's enzymes. But somebody should clean up after these bums. Lower Broadway, right before 890 Highway. Some beautiful flower arrangements. There is a new place on Lower Broadway, and I will show it in a minute. But first, a view of some construction that's going on. There's always a lot of development in certain parts of Schenectady. And in some parts of Schenectady, there isn't enough development going on. Here is a platform they've been working on. Not sure what it's going to be. And here is a fairly new-looking building. I got a good wide-angle shot of this building with one of my great lenses. Now, here is a building that I discovered is looking kind of new. It's called the Schenectady County Department of Probation and Youth and Family Services. Whether your last name is Smith, Jones, Rodriguez, or Gonzalez, they are there to serve you. A sole individual sits in front of Stewart's on the ground, asking passersby for money. Sneakers on the telephone wires represents organized crime, street gangs, or perhaps the death of a member of a gang. This intersection, a car breezes through, a second car breezes through, both without stopping. The second one doesn't use a directional. I wandered onto Steinmetz Park one day when they were having a neighborhood association meeting. and a total of 9 people showed up, including myself. Last time I went to one of these, there was usually always about 20 or 30, but that's probably because they came for the free eats. Who knows? I didn't really get much out of it. The park is nice, pavilions and picnic tables. Back to VanVranken Avenue in the same neighborhood. We have the empty buildings that have been sitting empty for a long time that used to house the Ritz Restaurant, and also the Cornell's restaurant, which moved to J Street in the Little Italy section of Schenectady, New York. I have very fond memories of going to the Ritz. I used to go there with my mom and dad and my daughters. We enjoyed the food there, the atmosphere. It was like a 4 or 5 star restaurant, and today they don't have anything like that on VanVranken Avenue. All they have now is a Stewart store and a few bodegos. A shell of what it once used to be, with the boarded up entrance. Quite the eyesore. And a worn out, torn out, shredded canopy above the walkway. A wide angle of the Ritz kind of looked like a cake. Here is where Cornell's used to be. Again, it moved to J Street in the Little Italy section. It is not yet known what this site will become, but Metroplex, from what I read, is paying for the demolition. Another $200,000 that taxpayers will be spending. In the meantime, the parking lot and the building will be scuffed up with more graffiti. A total eyesore. It's kind of like nobody really cares anymore, but I'm trying to. Now, moving on to the Crane Street Hill area, this is Orchard Park. I never been to Orchard Park, neither has my lenses, but I found it, to be a very well-kept park. A little toy choo-choo train for the kiddies to go on. But they have this outdoor gym that's free to the public where you use your own body weight to exercise with. I haven't yet figured out how to use these exercises. There's an app to download, and I am not too fond of apps, but I will get used to them. I have a few, but not too many. Need apps to make your body chiseled. Get the lead out, people. Burn the blubber. Moving on to Union College. It is a late warm summer day, a little bit breezy, but sunny. The grass is still dry from a very dry summer, but the campus is still looking gorgeous as ever. The sun leaves a flange mark on my lens. Architectural objects can be seen, and buildings look the same as they did 100 years ago. A monument bench, I photographed it wrong because you can see the reflection of my body in it. The flowers behind the cafeteria. I wish I could get my backyard to look this nice. And I found this water fountain very soothing. I enjoyed getting a shallow depth of field image of it. The Knott Memorial has been a conversation piece for decades and decades. It was once used in the movie The Way We Were with Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford. As you can see, kids are starting to come back to college, to start their academic career, to get themselves into the real world and perform in an entirely different arena. Wendell Avenue, right by Steinmetz House, Charles Steinmetz, that is. Here beeth his front yard. Here beeth his backyard looking toward his front yard. And here beeth his monument. Charles Steinmetz was president of Union College, died in 1923. He was a lot like me. He liked to take a lot of pictures. I would have liked to have known him. I come here quite often, every now and then. I like to think I'm going to his house to have a cup of coffee with him. A swing sits in his front yard waiting for somebody to use it, to have fun with. We have so many things that are unused in Schenectady, New York, that could be. And Charles, you make a great cup of coffee. Up the street from Charles Steinmetz House is the Unitarian Church. And it's got these pretty fountains. I don't know if they're running all the time, but I found them to be very photogenic. And there is a Black Lives Matter sign on the church. I recall we went here in 1968 when we first moved to the area, and then I think the family didn't enjoy going here as much because everybody was wearing sandals. And we didn't, I guess somebody may not have liked to look at bare feet all year round. Down in the stockade by the Mohawk River, a huge mushroom protrudes out of a tree, almost looks like a stingray fish. The Mohawk River is looking very colorful and blue this morning as a pontoon boat zooms on by.
What are the celebrities' names here? Who do we have here? What are your names? All right, I'll put this out on the Schenectady page, straight out of Schenectady page. All right, 3 celebrities from Schenectady.
Again, I've photographed City Hall numerous times, but each time I feel like I get a different image of it, because I'm always learning about new film stocks with my cameras. And let's not forget that Karen B. Johnson has been, or the library has been named after Karen B. Johnson, which is okay with me. After accidentally starting a microwave oven fire, I had to stay at a downtown Schenectady hotel. While I was there, I explored the J Street area and many other parts of downtown Schenectady. I enjoyed not having to cook for myself. Here, the Whistling Kettle, I think it's called. You can sit inside the restaurant and watch a lot of things from outside on J Street. It's a very interesting place. They probably sell a lot of tea. I see shelves in the background. They did give me permission to film inside, just not filming people. Here is a Chipotle grilled chicken sandwich with tossed salad. It was extremely yummy. It even had nice ceilings. And remember, ice water is always the healthiest thing to drink. I stayed at the Doubletree Hilton on Knott Terrace in downtown Schenectady. I was staying in room 412. I like staying in hotels because somebody else does all the work for you, and they're kind of relaxing. It's time to wash up and go to dinner. So I got on the elevator and I started walking around. I went past the 151 and then I got down to J Street. And then I headed over to State Street, but not until after I took one more picture of City Hall. It was a quiet night. Not too many people were out, but there were a few. So I stopped at this Grano Restaurant. It was mostly Italian cuisine. It had plenty of dining space. The menus were about as big as the King James Bible. And a nice old-fashioned Italian dinner with wine, bread and butter, salad, followed up by the main course, which was a chicken cacciatore dinner with spaghetti. I walked out of there very full. On the way home, I went past a place called Great Flats Brewing Company. It looks like they were old garage stalls. They had 2 people in there, but I'm sure they have other nights where it's much busier. Here is an alleyway off of J Street where it's decorated like Monopoly. I found this very artsy. You've got community chest and chance, and you have the word go. And tattoo blues, well, I'm not the one type that's going to get tattoos. Then the following night, I went to the Zen restaurant. I started out with a martini, followed out by a second martini, and then a tossed salad with cucumber sauce. Outside of Zen, across the street is the Nest restaurant, where they have a seating area out front where people are performing, and it's quite an entertaining thing. Guitars, singing, and mellowness, which is what the world needs. This is what that outdoor area looks like in front of Zen during the daytime. A rose, a wild rose in my backyard. Down on Lower Broadway is the Restore, where somebody has painted a mural on the side of the building, and I tip my hat to them because this looks great. It must have been a lot of work. It must have taken a long time. I think people are geniuses that know how to paint murals on buildings. It is just absolutely beautiful. A white flower on State Street by Kentucky Fried Chicken in downtown Schenectady. And here's what the American diet consists of way too often. This is fried fat. American diet consumes too much fried fat. A view looking up from Ferry Street on the corner where Slick's Tavern is. The top part of the old Wedgeway building where pigeons hang out. From the Wedgeway building, the view of the Burger King on Erie Boulevard. A man is sitting in front who is probably asking people for money. Hey, mister, pull up your trousers. We're not that hungry. The sight of this is making me lose my appetite. That's why I'm going to eat here instead. This is Jess Petriquin for JP News for September of 2022. Have a nice night.